guys, Orphan CB here with the first of many Founders Brew reviews. We got a nice little bottle of Turbodog from Abita Brewing. They're located in Louisiana, about 30 miles outside of New Orleans. It's a self-proclaimed dark brown ale. I tend to think of it as a lighter porter. Has a lot of the burnt, smoky caramel taste that a porter or a stout would have. Anyways, let's get to the tasting. So just going over your basic pour for those of you who typically drink out of the bottle. You want to hold your glass at a 45-degree angle and aim for about the middle of the glass. And then once your glass is about half full, tilt it 90 degrees. Make sure you get a lot of good head. Anyways, hopefully you can see that pretty well. We got a nice 2-inch head on here. It's pretty indicative of a stout or a porter, like a real thick, foamy head. If you've ever had a Guinness where they carve the clover into the head, that's pretty much what you're getting with this. As you can see, it's pretty dark, almost black, also indicative of a stout, which is another reason I like to call this a light porter rather than a dark brown. When you smell it, you get a nice malty smell. And you can definitely smell the toffee in it. You can kind of get a slight hint of hops, but not really. It's a really great smell, honestly. It's what I like to wake up to in the morning. But we'll go for a taste. I should say beforehand, whenever you have something like this, you want to try to drink through the head. Sometimes the head can have more of a nasty taste. So if you've ever had a Guinness and you think, oh, this is terrible, this is the worst beer I've ever had, try it again, try to drink through the head, get straight to the liquid, because there can be a lot of nasty flavors in that foam. You want to whenever you taste a beer, just to taste it, not to get slammed. You want to give it a nice amount of time on your tongue. Let it kind of sift around in your mouth. Just get to all the different areas of your tongue to taste all the different flavors that a beer has to offer. This one in particular, you get a lot of dark chocolate notes, you get a lot of toffee. It's kind of like if espresso was a beer, is one of the ways I like to describe it. And right when you swallow, your bitterness receptors in your tongue are right at the back of your throat. That's why normally when you're drinking an IPA, you really don't get hit by the bitter until you swallow. So with this, you're really getting a slight hint of it, but it's perfect. It just rounds out the beer very nicely, makes it so it's not too sweet, but not at all bitter. So for those of you with a sweet tooth, this might be your drink of choice. All right, next up is Abita's Amber. Alright, here we are with the Abita Amber. I kind of took it upon myself to taste this one. RS277 told me just to try the Turbodog, but I've had hundreds of them so far in my life. It's one of my favorite brews. So I figured, if we're going to be trying new stuff, I might as well try something new myself. This is their flagship beer. It's what they were born and raised on. I think it's still their best seller. For this tasting, I'm using a Pilsner glass. It's good to use one of these with a lighter beer. It really brings out the flavors. But without further ado, another good thing about Pilsner glasses is with lighter beers, you probably don't get as good a head on something like the pint glass I was using before. With a Pilsner glass, you get a nice inch and a half head on this. And you don't really get a lot of the smell off of this. This is a Munich style lager, which is typically called a Munich Helles. I think that's pronounced right. Helles is basically a word that means light. So it's a lighter lager. As you can see by the color, it's kind of like a pale amber, almost like an apple juice really. You kind of get a bit of a malty smell off of the top, but I mean, it's really hard to pick something out. It's a little bready, if anything. And it's the same with the taste. You get a nice malty feel There's really not a lot of hops presence in this. It's good to pair with something like a steak, something that you really don't want to pull the flavor away from too much. Maybe like some marinated chicken, something like that. It's a really good session beer. And for those of you who aren't familiar with that term, a session beer is something that's like under 5% APV, under 5% ABV. So you're not going to get hammered if you have a few. And it's, you know, lighter in taste. It's something that you can just keep drinking and drinking and drinking and really not have it affect you too much. Yeah, I'm trying to pull out other stuff. You can kind of get a little bit of a caramel taste as well. Abita tends to use a lot of caramel malts, so all of their beers have a nice sweet malt taste, but really the overpowering thing here is like a bready malt taste. So that's the Abita Amber. I guess read the rest of the page to find out more of how I felt about these beers, the mouthfeel, the lacing, that sort of thing, stuff I don't have enough time to tell you in just this video. Yeah, alright. See you guys Friday night.